Hello, this is Sabika Sayyed and welcome to the print headlines. 20 rebel Trinamool Lok Sabha MPs seek to merge with Nationalist Citizen Party of India. After days of speculation, 20 rebel Trinamool Congress MPs yesterday met Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla at his residence in New Delhi and submitted a letter announcing their decision to merge with the National Citizens Party of India (NCPI). The decision by the rebels to merge with a registered regional political party rather than form a separate bloc within the Trinamool Congress was to avoid any legal complications under the anti-defection law. The law states that when two-thirds of the legislators of a political party decide to merge with another party, neither those who join the new party nor the ones who stay with the original party face disqualification. TMC calls rebels' NCPI merger ridiculous. The war of words between the Trinamool Congress and the BJP intensified after dissident TMC MPs announced their merger with the little-known NCPI and pledged support for the National Democratic Alliance, with Mamata Banerjee's camp dismissing the move as ridiculous and BJP describing it as evidence of TMC's deepening crisis. Senior TMC MP Sugata Roy ridiculed the rebels' decision to merge with the NCPI, a Tripura-based registered unrecognized party, questioning both its political relevance and the dissidents' ability to justify the move before the voters. TMC MP Abhishek Banerjee appears before ED in primary school job scam case. Trinamool Congress leader Abhishek Banerjee appeared before the Enforcement Directorate in Kolkata today in connection with the school job scam case. This came a day after he was questioned by the West Bengal CID in connection with the alleged forgery of TMC MLA signatures on documents related to the appointment of the leader of opposition in the state assembly. West Bengal Chief Minister Suvendu Adhikari announces the centre has allocated 8,500 crore rupees for Bengal under VBG Ramji scheme. West Bengal Chief Minister Suvendu Adhikari today said the centre has allocated 8,500 crore rupees to the state under the Viksit Bharat Guarantee for Rozgar and Ajivika Mission Grameen scheme or the VBG Ramji scheme. Under the Gram Sadak Yojana, allocations worth 2,400 crore rupees have been approved and 1,000 crore rupees released by the centre. Adhikari made the announcement while launching the statewide Jan Kalyan Shivir program from Nandigram in Purba Medinipur district. Adhikari said 1100 Jan Kalyan Shivir camps being organized from June 15 to June 17 will help people access 54 central and state government schemes. Supreme Court stays proceedings before High Courts on pleas challenging transgender law. The Supreme Court today stayed further proceedings before the High Courts on petitions challenging the provisions of the Transgender Persons Protection of Rights Amendment Act 2026. A bench of Chief Justice Suryakant and Justice V. Mohana agreed to hear the centre's petition seeking to consolidate and transfer all pending pleas challenging the act from various High Courts to the Supreme Court. NCERT alters image of Indus Valley dancing girl in new Class 9 art textbook. The iconic dancing girl of Mohenjo-daro, a 4,500-year-old bronze figurine that has featured in Indian school textbooks for decades, appears to have been altered in a newly released Class 9 art education textbook published by the NCERT. The original bronze statue discovered at Mohenjo-daro is depicted nude except for multiple bangles on one arm and a necklace. In the new textbook, it appears in a darker shade with parts of the torso covered compared to its original form. In the Air India Ahmedabad plane crash, pilot's body FIP seeks B787 simulator test to verify certain aspects in probe. The Federation of Indian Pilots or the FIP has asked probe agency Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau to carry out Boeing 787 simulator tests to verify the relation between RAM air turbine deployment and fuel control switch movement with respect to the AI-171 plane crash last year. The FIP's demand comes days after the AAIB released its interim statement on June 12, saying that significant progress has been made in the probe into the Air India plane crash that killed 260 people on June 12 last year. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says India and Slovakia have decided to elevate ties to status of comprehensive partnership. Prime Minister Narendra Modi today arrived in Slovakia, becoming the first Indian Prime Minister to visit the country. Prime Minister Robert Fico said Slovakia and India are linked by several common interests and expressed admiration for India's achievements across multiple fields. Speaking during the exchange of MOUs and joint press statements with Slovakia PM Robert Fico in Bratislava, Modi said, and I quote, India and Slovakia decided to elevate ties to status of comprehensive partnership. India and France adopt Innovation Roadmap 2030 and Economic Security Dialogue. India and France adopted an Innovation Roadmap 2030 and established a dialogue on economic security during bilateral talks between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and French President Emmanuel Macron held in Nice yesterday during Modi's visit to the Bharat Innovates Technology Conference. A press release from the government outlined a number of themes, including calling for the fast adoption of the India-EU Free Trade Agreement. Earlier this year, the two countries had renamed their partnership a Special Global Strategic Partnership to reflect an enhanced level of cooperation. No traditional joint statement had emerged from the meeting as of this writing. US-Iran peace deal announced with permanent end to military action. The United States and Iran have agreed to a peace deal and an immediate and permanent end to military operations on all fronts, including Lebanon, mediator Pakistan said. Pakistani Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif posted on X that a peace deal has been reached and an official signing ceremony will be held on June 19 in Switzerland. Donald Trump said that a peace deal with Iran is now complete, announcing the Strait of Hormuz is open and the United States will lift its naval blockade. Israel's defense minister says Israel won't withdraw from land seized in Lebanon, Syria, and Gaza. Defense Minister Israel Katz said Israel plans to stay indefinitely in lands it holds in Lebanon as well as Syria and the Gaza Strip. Iran has tied the interim deal over the war to halting Israel's attacks on Hezbollah in Lebanon. Israeli far-right minister Ben Gvir slams US-Iran deal, urges stronger campaign in Lebanon. Israel's far-right National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir today denounced the deal between the United States and Iran to end the war in West Asia, including in Lebanon, insisting his country was not bound by it. Ben-Gvir said on his Telegram channel, and I quote, Trump's agreement does not bind us. We are not party to this agreement. It does not safeguard our security. Oil prices plunged to 3-month low as US-Iran reached deal to reopen Strait of Hormuz. Oil prices slipped to a 3-month low today after US President Donald Trump and Iran's Deputy Foreign Minister said they had reached an initial deal to end the war and to resume traffic through the Strait of Hormuz. G7 leaders meet in France after US and Iran declare agreement to end war. Leaders of the G7 met at a French lakeside resort today shortly after the US and Iran said they had reached a preliminary deal to end their war. Discussing next steps on Iran will be one of several issues the global leaders will wrestle with during the June 15 to June 17 summit, which will also seek common ground on the war in Ukraine, tackling global economic imbalances and sourcing critical minerals outside of the dominant supplier, China. UN Chief welcomes announcement of peace deal between US and Iran. UN Chief Antonio Guterres has welcomed the announcement of a peace deal between the US and Iran that provides for an immediate and permanent ceasefire and the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz. The Secretary General expressed deep appreciation for the constructive role played by Pakistan, Qatar, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Turkey and other regional countries in supporting the negotiations. PM Modi welcomes West Asia deal, hopes peace will be restored. Prime Minister Narendra Modi welcomed the understanding reached between the United States and Iran on ending the conflict in West Asia and hoped the implementation of the pact will help restore peace in the region and ensure the freedom of navigation. The Prime Minister said India looks forward to deliberations on the remaining issues, reaching a sustainable final agreement. China welcomes West Asia deal, calls for early opening of Strait of Hormuz. China has welcomed the understanding reached between the US and Iran on ending the conflict in West Asia and called for the early opening of Strait of Hormuz for international shipping. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Lin Jian told a media briefing, and I quote, China hopes that the US and Iran will sign the first phase of the MOU as scheduled. Marius Høiby, son of Norway's crown princess, sentenced to 4 years for rape. An Oslo court today convicted Norwegian crown princess Mette Marit's son of 2 counts of rape, sentencing him to 4 years in prison in a high-profile scandal that has rocked the monarchy. Marius Høiby, 29, met Marit's son from a relationship prior to her 2001 marriage to Crown Prince Haakon, was accused of 40 charges, carrying a maximum possible sentence of 16 years in prison. He was acquitted of 2 other counts of rape and convicted of domestic abuse against an ex-girlfriend, issuing threats and traffic violations. British Prime Minister announces ban on social media for under 16s. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer today announced a forthcoming ban on social media for all children under the age of 16. Speaking at a Downing Street press conference, Starmer said, and I quote, "The government will ban access to social media for all children under the age of 16. Iran team arrives in US for opener as nations reach peace deal in West Asia. Iran's football team arrived in the United States for the first time at this World Cup, landing at Los Angeles International Airport just before a peace deal between the two nations was announced. The squad arrived after a short flight from Tijuana, Mexico, where they left their base camp earlier to a rousing send-off ahead of their opening game against New Zealand at Los Angeles Stadium today. That's all we have for you today. We'll be back tomorrow with the latest.